one who comes to watch the spectacle, to see the sovereign of the source ascend again. Or perhaps you are the first in a long new line, the first that will try to stop my dominion again. Oh, by the emerald eyes of the goddess, would you believe that I can still feel it ever so vaguely? The force of the stab that cleft my heart and sent my soul shivering into death. But my followers have done it. They have done it like I knew they would. Blood, the thick red gravy, the source of souls, has been yielded unto star-sent stones and has swept away the eternal shadows. How long has it been, I wonder, my first repose in death? An hour? The time it takes the seas to tear down cliffs. It is of no matter. I live, and I shall claim my throne anew. A fable I may have become as time dragged on, but a fact I am once more, little one. Don't you, don't all of you miserable mortals realize that they who are one with Source have thrown off the burdensome mantle of death forever? I embraced Source. I drank it, made it part of my blood and my being. And so a warlord became a sorcerer, and a sorcerer became a king. The fools of this world dubbed me a tyrant, for the gods convinced them I was such, fearful as they were of my rise in power. Armies amassed, too many. Scores I slew, too few. Death took me, too soon, but not for all time. Ha! Not a thing. There was a woman once that went by that name, until I mangled her body into that of a lich. Oh, my sister dearest, Cassandra, and her man-cat. Mere pets of mine, the both of them, tools to bruise and break as I saw fit. They bled so very beautifully. The reason for my resurrection, O simplest of spirits, is that I was destined to be. Were it not for the vainglorious fools that raised me now, it would have been another, perhaps wiser being that would have done so in time. And time is of no matter, only to be. A woman seeks my secret, for her soul is entwined with another's, yes. Where once they were inseparable, now they have grown apart in purpose and intent. But my secrets are mine to keep. Perhaps when she lies shivering before me, pledging alliance to her king, I will break her forge before I break her. A source hunter. So you are, though you are so much more, and do not even know it. No matter, they still smell like you do, by the by, your brother and sister hunters, as they closed in around me that first time. Fear. That most sly, most intangible of sense. Drowned out soon afterward by the acid stench of urine. I had but to look at them, and they rusted their chainmail where they stood. I undid so manifold they had to wade through the gore of the fallen. Oh, what a feast, what fountains of gravy we had. Alas, that there were too many, as there clearly are too many of you still. Although, life renewed has made me rather peckish, and from the looks of you, you need but the slightest of squeezes to make squirt the source's sauce from your believe, as my servants would say as they brought in a squirming, plump girl on a plate, that dinner is served. Stand by. Precious life returns. Right there!
I feel better already. I'm dying!
Ebbing away. The Seven call me home.
Chilling kiss from afar. splintering arrow! One mark is not enough.
On the mend!
Raging power of flame attack!
My turn through the gauntlet? With pleasure. Oh, how I'll sing your entrails.
I sing the body electric.
I'll defend you till my death rattle. treading from the top or the bottom? No grave contains me.
Suffer the splinters!
is the final end of Braccus Rex.
May his soul remain in the depths of hell for good.
Into the fray once more. Into the fray once more.
You call to Ulgraf. He awaits.
7 grant abundance. My kingdom for a dry shack.
You are but kin to my triumphant place.
The king is... He came close though, Braccus Rex. Close to fulfilling his dream. Dormant he would lie until loyal followers that persisted through centuries would restore him to life afresh. As a ghoul, no more was he reborn. Exactly the type of base necromancy I abhor. But now that he is dust at our feet, I can't help but feeling a morsel of pity. The work of ages, the desire beyond death we undid with a simple stroke of the sword. No beauty? Oh, how you are mistaken. Life, it is such a precious commodity. So precious indeed that death is dealt in droves to merely postpone it, to make it cross the boundaries set by nature. There is much simple irony to be found in these exploits, but at the heart of it lies an equally simple endeavor, which is to overcome the most primal of fears, the dread that prompts philosophy and religion both, and that is the fear of death. To overcome death, if it were possible, is to attain victory over the unconquerable. Such a victory, what a thing of beauty it would be. Still, all this talk about immortality hits the raw and ragged nerve of passing time with relentless momentum. Onward, onward! To be idle is to die!
Source Hunter, is it safe? Have you done it? Please tell me that you have sent Braccus Rex to the grave once and for all. Magnificent. Oh, truly wondrous. I feel like a prisoner set free, free to bask in the daylight once more. I was so fearful, petrified almost in the knowledge that I might see him again. You see, I knew the Mad King. In fact, I served him. I'm a wizard hunter, and that means I've seen many centuries pass me by. They weren't always happy ones, and you may take that as an understatement. I was once under Braccus's thrall, bound to him by perfidious magic. Life was an endless cycle of servitude, torture, and humiliation. Only after the first source hunters skewered him like the pig he was did my nightmare end. As you can imagine, I was afraid beyond all measure that the fiend would enslave us all once more. That I'd be cast back into the rank pit that was my past. But he hasn't, and he never will. Thank you. I will never forget this act of valor. You have foiled one of Leandra's vile designs, that much is certain. But I highly doubt you forestalled her endgame, whatever that may be. It is therefore imperative that we find her sister Ikara. As you've learned from the accursed duo that was Jake and Evelyn, the White Witch is somehow involved. I will vouch for her gentle nature, but alas, I cannot vouch for her current state of mind. Has she been corrupted by her sister, perhaps? Or have they become enemies locked in a murderous game of cat and mouse? There's no way of knowing until you find her. What I do know is that she lives in a cabin deep in Luculla Forest to the north. If anywhere, that is where I advise your travels should take you next. So you have heard of her? Yes. I knew Cassandra. She was a sweet girl when we met. Hardly a woman yet. The very opposite of her deranged brother, who did not hesitate to butcher her for his own benefit. We were fast friends in those days. Aye, more than friends. Until he took her down to the dungeons, and she returned a woman no longer. A twisted lich had she become, with a twisted mind to match her grisly new shape. He remorselessly and relentlessly sought ways to cheat death. Cassandra and he were soul-forged, so he knew that if she would die, he would die. And so he turned her into a lich. Turned her into a creature neither living nor dead, so that he could break the soul forge without destroying himself in the process. Giving the matter no further thought, he rid his sister of her humanity, so as to rid himself of a spell that could threaten him. Such a man was Braccus Rex. Immortal in his mind, and immortal to be in effect. As your swords and spells have demonstrated, though, to this world's everlasting contentment, his deranged fancy was not to be. I don't know. When the Source Hunters besieged Braccus's castle, I sought only to escape. I never heard of her again. Yes, I longed for freedom, for release. When I saw my chance, I ran and never looked back. Very well, Hunter. My gratitude is yours, as is my service.
That's it. Braccus Rex is dead. The way he spoke about our forebears was horrific. I wonder how many Source Hunters had to die before the Source King was deposed.
He was a man utterly corrupted by Source. Don't waste a moment thinking on his crimes, especially not when we have a world of work ahead of us.
Yes, forward is the only way we can look now. This Source cult runs deeper than we dreamed. We must stamp it out before another Braccus Rex rises.
Walgraf beckons you and points to the ground. The dust has been disturbed.
Wow. Hello there. And who, pray tell, might you be? Oh, let's just say I keep the place in check. Tidy it up. I'm no one important, really. I've learned to appreciate anonymity. And forgive me if I prefer to distance myself from any possible mishaps you adventurers can cause. Quite unpleasant to get involved. Authorities knocking on your door in the middle of the night and so on. Forgive me if I generalise, but some of your lot are as crazy as they come. I once thought you a quaint sort, but over the years I've come to realise that about 1 in 10 is downright dangerous. Lock up behind bars, paint the key blue and toss it into the sea material. Now I can't help but wonder, are you cut from the same batty cloth? Why've you come here after...
The mist.
Kate?
Baking like a cake.
So good to see you again, Source Hunter. This cannot be. Can it? You have found one of the sources of the undead and sent it back into oblivion. But that is fantastic. Never have I seen such heroism. Hope breaks through after 2 years of absolute darkness. Cyseal remains under threat, yes, but finally it has been proven even the dead can be vanquished. To think, Rivellon too was behind these horrors all along. A man who treated the wounds I obtained in battle, who comforted me when my agony was great. Such a pity. Cyseal is in your debt, Hunter. I, and the Legion too. Braccus Rex is dead, and no one but you could have done this glorious deed. I shall be very glad to share what information I can give you. By all means. Sorry, sir.
You, again. So, let me get this straight. There are insidious sorcerers running about town that turned a council ambassador into a zombie for sport, after said councillor was murdered by some mystery witch who subsequently trotted off to her cabin in Luculla Woods. Sure you haven't omitted relevant details like, flying brooms, black cats, and bloody pentagrams? By Belagar's nebbers. Sounds like a fantasy tale mothers tell their children before bed. And I bet none of it's more than fantasy either. Though no doubt Ahu puts stock in your every word. Anyway, be these true... if you must. If... What'd you take me for? An ignorant... We may well stand on unholy...